Hey guys, today we've got something a little bit different for you because we're going to be looking at a text game on the internet. It's time to look at Discworld Mud. There are few games I can honestly say I've played as much as Discworld Mud. It's a free-to-play, online game that has far more depth than most single-player RPGs that you'll ever encounter, and a vast amount of players. At its peak, it wasn't uncommon to have to wait in a queue just to be able to log in, because the game peaks out at somewhere between 200 to 300 concurrent players, and it would regularly max that figure out. Based on Sir Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels, Discworld Mud puts you in the position of playing the role of a person living on the Discworld. Where you start depends on what nationality you've chosen for yourself during character creation, so you could start in the overtly hostile Ankh-Morpork, the civilized but severely oppressive Les Pelagic in Algeria, the corrupt mafia state of Genoa, or even in the vampire-infested Uberwald. If these don't fit your tastes, there are other places as well. What you do after that is entirely up to you. The game is open-ended, and it's possible to play for years without experiencing everything this game has to offer, and I'm serious about that because my characters have a combined playtime of over 2 real-life years, and I've barely scratched the surface of this game. So let's get into it. The best way to play Discworld is to join a guild. Unlike other MMOs, because that's essentially what this mode is, it's a text-based MMO, guilds on Discworld aren't groups of players all working together to finish raids or anything like that. Guilds on Discworld are essentially your character class, although you are still able to level up skills from outside your guild's skill tree. Some guilds are provided with access to commands that other guilds can't access, and vice versa. There are a lot of guilds, and they all group into a few factions essentially. You have fighters, mages, rogues, and priests, the common factions that you can expect from most fantasy RPGs, but Discworld also offers some additional factions in the form of assassins, which are essentially a rogue fighter hybrid, and fools, which are strictly for role-playing and have almost no useful skills. So when you've chosen your guild, what do? Well, you could get a job, I suppose. These come in the form of missions, essentially. In Ankh-Morpork there's a job market, and that has a number of short missions available to you. You can play these again and again. They're randomly generated and you don't get paid a huge amount for doing them, but they will be a nice income, especially for starting players. There are also other missions found here and there throughout the Discworld. A good one to get started with is the mission to locate a piece of jewellery for Penny Laced in Ohulin Kutash, a sleepy market town in the Ramtops region. Pack some warm clothing if you go there though, since the Ramtops can get a bit chilly. And that wasn't a joke, by the way. The weather on Discworld will affect your stats. If you aren't wearing enough when you go into a cold area, your stats will start to deplete after a while, and you can even freeze to death. If you wear too much, you'll sweat and end up getting drenched, especially in hot climates such as the cities of Ephebe and Jellybaby. Then there are quests. These are hidden missions that give you a lot of experience points and sometimes money or other items as well if you complete them. There are hundreds of quests all across the Discworld, and they range in complexity, with some being very simple to complete and others taking a lot of planning and coordination as well as skills and sometimes even the cooperation of other players. They're worth doing because the experience points you gain will help you to develop your character quicker than if you'd relied on experience points from combat alone. Combat is something that you'll do a lot in Discworld Mud if you want to level up, but this is to be expected. All MMOs have a lot of combat in them, but Discworld has its own unique twist. NPCs will sometimes hide the fact that they're carrying weapons until you actually start fighting them. If you attack a troll by aiming your weapons at its neck, then you will do more damage than if you just attacked it generally, because there is a comment in one of the Discworld cartoons that mentions
there's a spot on the back of the neck.
It's that kind of detail that makes this game stand out from other MMOs. Some NPCs can even cast spells, others can use priest abilities to transport you to endless mazes that take ages to escape from, and others still are carrying magic scrolls that sometimes they'll use to cast spells, but mostly will explode when the NPC dies, potentially killing you if you're still in the room when they go off. Discworld relies a lot on trial and error, that's what I'm saying here. But don't worry, you get 8 lives to start with, and you can buy more if you need them. There's even an achievement for having 100 lives in reserve. That's right, this game has achievements as well. These range from simple and daft to excessive. There's an achievement for having a character that is 20 real-world years old. Not in terms of login time, but in terms of when you started to log in for the first time and up to the modern day. And there are players who've been around long enough to be coming close to getting that achievement. A lot of Discworld Muds players have been playing for a long time. Personally, I first logged in 21 years ago, and I wish I'd kept hold of my character from back then, because my goodness, I'd have that 20-year achievement by now. As it stands, my modern characters will have to wait quite a while to get that one, but it's okay though, because I'm not planning on going anywhere soon. As you can tell from this review, I really am a fan of Discworld Mud. It's a massive and complex game that can't be summed up in one review. There's just too much to talk about. I didn't even mention the fact that I've written a book, written, produced and performed a play, been a newspaper reporter, owned a house and competed in the Discworld version of the Olympics, all within this game. It's a living, breathing world in electronic form, and if you're willing to give it a chance, you'll find something here that you'll love. So give it a try, it's well worth your time. Okay guys, this one's been a bit different. Discworld Mud is the first online game that I ever played when I got the internet at home in 1998. I think there definitely was one that I tried in 1992 at a friend's house on his internet connection, and it was a similar sort of thing, it was a similar mud, but Discworld was the first one that I tried at home myself, and I loved it. It's very difficult to get into back then because I was using I was using Terminal, the command line terminal system on Windows 95. No, it would have been 98. So it would have been slightly better than 95, but not by much. And it was difficult to keep up with what was going on. These days, with modern, more color-enhanced text clients, such as the one that's on the Discworld Mud website, it's much easier to get into the game and understand what's going on, which makes it so much better to play. But even back then, working on just a command line that had one color on it, it was still immersive and a lot of fun. If you give this one a try and you're willing to get past the fact that it is entirely text-based, it's basically like a text adventure that lots of people are playing at the same time, then you will have a lot of fun with this because it's immense, it's in-depth, there are so many things to try out, and I just love it. So that's why I've been playing for 20 years. Anyway, that's really all we've got time for today, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you did like this, and if you did, remember to click that like button, share it with your friends so that they'll know a good game when they see it, and do subscribe for future videos because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching GameHammer Daily, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you liked today's video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you.